again, you meet your kid where they're at. If multi-step things go in one ear, ricochet, and bounce out the other ear, you may need to do one at a time and then give them the second one. Especially if, like, for kids with ADHD who are struggling with that, you may need to say, do this and then come back to me, and then I'll give you the next thing. And then I always laugh as a parent, then I have to remember what the next thing was. Okay, hang on, I have to write it down for myself. But it's hard sometimes because as a parent, you want to rattle it off and I need you to do this and I need you to do that. But depending on how your kid is and how they process things, they may not be able to retain that. And so you learn the tricks and tools that work for your kid. And so it may be one thing and come back and check in with me. And then I'll give you the second thing we need to do.
Okay.
And some kids, you need to make it a game. Some kids, like that article quote was beautiful of if I turn it into a problem, then I can solve it. If I turn it into a game, they'll do it. If I make it a fun thing, they'll do it. If it's a list, they'll do it. If I say, hey, I need you to do this, I get a why are you nagging me?
Sure.
Every kid, different things motivate them. Different things fire off those centers in the brain and get that dopamine going. And so there's not a right answer because it's what works for your kid.
Awesome.
That just takes a lot of patience from the parents.
Oh, too much patience.
Yes, it does.
I'm thinking about my own childhood, being told do the dishes, but never being taught how to do them.
Right.
And
well, that goes back to that motor planning idea that we talked about of you have to be able to picture what the end point is before you can figure out how to get there.
Sure.
My poor youngest is getting thrown under the bus today. He'll live. I'd have him fold his laundry and go put it away. Things would be in all different drawers. Dude, we just reorganized this. Let's get it reorganized again. Next week, go put your laundry away. Stuff would be in all the different drawers.
Yeah.
I read this article talking about that idea of working memory and motor planning and being able to picture the end point. And I went, let's try something. And I took a picture of his dresser organized. Now, granted, he could open a drawer and look and see that that's the shirt drawer. But out of sight, out of mind is a thing for ADHD kids. And so that picture to this day still lives on his dresser. And he will pull it down and look at it and be like, okay, that's the sock drawer.
Yeah.
It's not always perfect.
Yeah.
They're certainly not always folded. But it was what worked for him was we needed to be able to picture the end point to figure out how to get there. And so when parents start to understand that, okay, this is clearly the way we're doing this right now is not working. So, hey guys, we have to leave this house at this time or I'm going to be late for work and I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
So let's figure out do we need to add more time? Do I need to do different reminders? Do you need it written down? And you try different things until you find the one that works. Yeah. And novelty helps with ADHD. So after a while of doing it the same way, you may have to change it. You may have to change it up and freshen it up because that one now we've learned to tune out.
Sure.
So, it takes a little bit of creativity. It does take a lot of patience on the parents' part. But when you start to go, oh, that's why they're doing it. Okay, I always say sometimes you have to zoom out and look at the wide angle lens of what is.
Yeah.
You're not intentionally defying me when I say, put your shoes on. That Mary Poppins to Batman meme about get ready. I've been there. I've done that. We figured out we had to give my son a list because otherwise if I said get ready, I'd get like one shirt, a sock, and action figures would be blowing up again. And it was get ready. It was, hey, by 7:20, these things need to be done on your list.
Yeah.
Get to them. And then I could walk by and be like, where are you at on your list? Instead of having to do the,
Sure.
it was get back to your list.
Okay. Jackie, thank you.